Hi everyone, it's Kelly from Kelly's Bead Boutique. So I've been making and teaching how to make jewelry for a very long time. And one of the comments that I always hear is, you make it look so easy. Well, I think it is, and I want to show you just how easy it can be. So I'm going to take some simple parts and some simple techniques and put them together and teach you how to make your very own jewelry. If you want to see what I'm making today, come and join me. So let's get started. So for tools today, I'm going to be using round nose pliers, bent chain nose pliers, and wire cutters. And for our supplies, we're going to be using some of this beaded chain. I've got some antique brass chain. I've got 20 gauge vintage bronze craft wire. I've got a large oval jump ring, a long beautiful silk tassel, a little antique brass charm. And again, we're using buttons because, you know, I have to use buttons in my projects because I think they're just so versatile. And this one I believe is made out of coconut, and they've just done some little designs on it, and I think it's really quite beautiful. So let's get started. So I'm going to take my large jump ring and I'm going to open it up. Now these are oval and they have a cut on the side, which is perfect for this. So I'm going to open it up by placing my pliers on one side, and then I'm going to twist like that. I never want to open it up that way because it'll break the neck. Now I'm going to take this jump ring and I'm going to start at the top. If you start at the bottom, it can pull some of the fibers up. So you always want to make sure that we're going to do this step starting at the top. So I'm going to take the end and I'm going to place it through the little wrap here, and I'm just going to run it all the way down until you can see it poking out the bottom. And sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get it down there, but eventually it will find its way through. And we'll just keep, it's almost down there. Just kind of keep jiggling it until it goes through. And I can see it poking out the end there. And then, there we go. So that's what we want, just poking out the end there. And now I'm going to take my little charm and I'm going to add it. And I'm going to do that jump ring up nice and tight. So just kind of wiggle it until it locks in there. Now I'm going to take it and pivot it around so that the cut part is hidden in the wrap on the tassel, and then you have nothing showing there. So that just gives a little bit of an embellishment on the front. You just want to make sure that it's kind of lined up with this. Mine's a little bit crooked, so I'm going to take it and just kind of shimmy it over a bit. Just kind of grab your pliers and shimmy it over so that this lines up with our little loop up here. So there you go. So now I'm going to cut two pieces of 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut them about 8 inches long. Give that one a little cut, and I already had one cut from a few seconds ago when I had to retape this because, you know, things don't always go according to plan. Okay, so now I'm going to find sort of the center of my piece and I'm going to bend it, and it doesn't have to be exact, so don't panic if we're a little off there. So I'm going to take one and I'm going to put it through the holes of the button and go through to the back. And then I'm just going to sort of pull that tight so that it's flush against the back of the button. And I don't want to have anything sticking out at the front, so I'm pushing it down with my fingers. Now I'm going to do the same on the other piece. So I'm going to find my center, fold it in half, and now I'm going to go through the back. When I put it through, I want to make sure that my wires are going on one side of the other wire. So I don't want to have one going in this side and then one going on that side. So I'm going to pop one in on sort of the left side of that wire and the other one through the left side. Does that make sense there? Just so that it's nice and neat. So when that comes out the front, it'll all look like it's supposed to be there. All right, so now I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to push it up so that it meets the other one, and then I'm going to bring this one down. So you can see what we've done now is we've encased this, and it's given us a nice little holder to be able to create our loops. So now I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to come across the wire and I'm going to go just above the button. I don't want to go too far up. It's maybe about an 1/8 of an inch or so, and I'm going to give it a little crimp. So I bring it across like that and then I squish. And that will kind of give me a little guideline of where I'm going to do the next move here. So now I'm going to go just slightly above that. And I mean like just maybe a millimeter. I know I'm talking inches and millimeters, but just a little tiny bit. I don't want to go right in that corner. I want to just come up just a little tiny bit, and I'm going to bend away like that. And actually I want to make sure that that is on top. So we'll just readjust. So now I've got a little bend away like that. So now I'm going to take this wire here that's on top and I'm going to wrap it around. Now I'm going to squish this with my fingers. I don't want to use tools on top of here because I don't want to damage the wire. And this wire is fairly soft, so I think we're going to be okay. So I'm going to wrap that around and I'm going to bring that about 3 times. And you can see that it wraps quite easily there. And then I'm going to bring it to the back and I'm going to give it a little trim. So I always want to cut with the flush side of my pliers. So I'm going to give that a little trim. And then you can kind of tuck that burr down. We're going to be covering that so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I've got my little wrap at the top. And this one's a little tiny bit off-centered. So I'm just going to come in here and just give it a little tweak. And I'm just tweaking it just a bit. Just kind of bring that up a little bit. Now I'm going to come and go across. So I'm looking at it this way. Now I'm going to turn it this way. And I want to be able to have my loop going the opposite direction here. So I'm just going to come up to the top of my wraps and I'm going to bend away. Now I'm going to create a loop using my round nose pliers and I'm going to go about halfway up. I want a decent sized loop. So up and over and down, rotate my pliers, bring that around, and then I'm going to just kind of adjust that so that it's sitting right on top. So now you can see I've created my wrap loop and we're going to add our chain after. So I'm just going to leave that open for now. So I will be adding chain and then we'll wrap that up. So now I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to do the same thing. So I've got my chain nose pliers. I'm going to come right across the 2 wires and I'm going to give them a little squish and that creates a little divot there. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and come just above that little divot and just bend across. So now you can see that this one's on top, which is exactly where I want it. So now I'm going to squish those together with my fingers so that they're nice and snug in there. And I'm going to wrap nice and tight and nice and neat 2 or 3 times. It doesn't matter how many times you go around. I went 4 there because let's see what happens. And now I'm going to use my flush side of my cutters and give that a trim. And it doesn't have to be a perfect wrap. You can go for the messy wrap. I just want sort of a bulky look here. And then I'm going to just tuck that little burr down. So now this one I want going opposite directions to this. So now I'm going to have my button flat like this. So I'm going to come right on top of those wraps that I did and I'm going to bend away. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and come back to the halfway point and I'm going to do a wrap loop. So up and over and down, rotate my pliers and come straight to the back. Line it up to make sure that it's centered on top of there and you might have to just adjust a little bit. There we go. And now I'm going to add my tassel. So when you put this through, I should mention that you see how I went through the back part of it? So that the little button, it's not a button, is it? I think everything's a button. The charm is going to be in the front. So this way, when I come in the back, when it flips around, it will naturally fall in the front. So now I'm just going to wrap it up. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to go right across that loop there. And now I'm just going to wrap down. So I'm just kind of covering up what I originally did. And again, don't worry if it's not perfect. We can go for a messy wrap or a bulky wrap, whatever you want to call it. We're just going to kind of cover up what we did there. It's a little awkward because I've got this little piece here in the way, but you can do it in reverse if you want and put your chains on first. I just didn't have them cut for the demo yet. So now I'm going to give that a little trim, again using the flush side of my cutters. And now that's got a little bit of a burr sticking out there. So I'm going to take my chain nose and I'm going to give it just a little tweak and push that down. And now you can see how we've got everything attached there. Okay, so what I've got here is 2 pieces of our howlite chain and they're approximately 4.5 inches each. And then I have 24 inches of our beautiful antique brass chain. And the nice thing about this brass chain is that it isn't soldered, so we're going to be able to open that up. Now this is an over the head necklace, so we don't even have a clasp. So I'll show you how to put this part together. So the first thing I'm going to do is take one of my pieces of my beaded chain and pop that in there, and then I'm going to pop the other one in. And now I'm just going to wrap those up. So come across that circle, make sure it's nice and tight there. And now we're just going to do like we did on the other side and wrap down. And if you find it a little bit hard, sometimes it's easier if you grab the tip of the wire with the tip of your tool, and that way you have lots of maneuverability. Is that a word? I just find it's a whole lot easier to wrap when I have a good grip on my wire, and I don't want to grab my wire like up here because then it will damage it. So I'm always grabbing the tip of the wire, and then we're going to just come to the back, and then we're going to give that a little trim. Make sure I use the flush side. Give that a trim. And then if there's any burr, there's just a little one there. Now burrs are nasty. They will poke at you and they'll ruin your clothes. So you always want to make sure that you're taking the time to just gently tuck that down. And it just takes a little bit of a squish, and then now it's nice and soft. So now I've got my first part of the chain on there. So now I'm going to open up one end of the chain, the unsoldered side. And pop that through there. And do that up nice and tight. It's just like a jump ring. So sometimes you'll have to sort of click it in there. And then I'm going to find the other end and repeat. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the completed necklace. So there you go. There's another beautiful necklace created with a button. Buttons are so versatile, and I'm having so much fun creating with them. So I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did. If you did, please make sure to give me a like. Please leave me a comment. I love to hear from everybody. And please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I want to thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.